Chairman Bernanke, I believe myself that monetary policy decisions by the Fed should be kept outside of political considerations independently. That said, it often seems that the Fed holds a very expansive view of its activities that it considers to be monetary policy actions. I assume this is done in an effort to expand the range of things subject to limited congressional oversight. Would you support an independent review, perhaps by the GAO, so that we can establish a clear line as to what must be kept independent and what should get more scrutiny?
Our general view is that the Congress should have the ability to oversee all aspects of our operations, including whether or not we have appropriate financial controls, whether we are lending on a good basis of collateral, and so on. And so we'd be willing to work with you on that. We do think that the Congress has the right to see how we're using taxpayer money. Where we're concerned is that the Congress would be intervening in our specific policy decisions relating to monetary policy in the economy.
I understand that.
So yes, we are quite willing to work with Congress to try to figure out exactly where the line should be. And outside the area of policy determination, we are quite open to working with you and the GAO to determine appropriate scope of oversight.
Mr. Chairman, your monetary policy report notes rather casually that, quote, non-traditional monetary policy actions employed by the Federal Reserve since the onset of the current episode of financial turmoil have resulted in a considerable expansion of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, end quote, from $918 billion at the end of 2007 to over $2 trillion last week. By categorizing these as, quote, non-traditional monetary policy actions, good choice of words, are you suggesting that actions by the Fed that have more than double the size of the Fed balance sheet are beyond congressional scrutiny?
I think that all...
You see where we're coming from?
Yes, I see, Mr. Senator Shelby. So we have already, the GAO has already been given access to the rescues. The GAO already has access to the TALF, which is a major program. And I think we'd be willing to extend GAO access to any extraordinary program, with the focus being on our operational integrity and making sure we're protecting the taxpayers' money. Where we are nervous is when the GAO begins to second-guess our monetary policy decisions per se. But in terms of safeguarding the taxpayers' money, in terms of making sure that the operations are well maintained, all those things I think are appropriate for Congress to oversee.
I'd like to get into something you've talked about on the House side on a number of occasions, but I don't believe over here yet. That is the Bank of America Merrill Lynch merger. What really went on between you, Senator Paulson, the CEO of the Secretary Paulson, former Secretary Paulson, and Mr. Lewis, the former, I guess he's still currently the CEO of Bank of America. There's been a lot said, a lot of charges both ways, that some that you and Secretary Paulson threatened Mr. Lewis. I think you basically said that you didn't, but I'd like to hear in your own words what went on there, because that controversy has not gone away yet.
Well, Chairman Frank yesterday said he saw no villains in the story, and I don't think there's anybody who, in that story, who did not behave appropriately and in their appropriate role. You should remember that the way this became even an interest of Congress was the report from Attorney General Cuomo that Mr. Lewis had said that we, the Secretary and I, had urged him not to disclose material which he was supposed to disclose under SEC rules. He later clarified under oath that no one had done that. There had been no such urging not to do appropriate disclosures, and that he had been solely in control of his own disclosure decisions. So that eliminated the only issue that had any legal consequences as far as I can see. Nevertheless, the committee proceeded to collect emails and materials and to look for whatever possible problems they could find. In fact, as I've said in my testimony, we were dealing with a very difficult situation where on the one hand, we wanted to make sure that we respected the rights of Mr. Lewis and his shareholders. On the other hand, we wanted to make sure that the financial system was stabilized and protected. I think that we achieved that. We did that in a way that was fully legal and fully ethical, and in which Mr. Lewis also performed his necessary fiduciary duties with respect to his company. And the outcome has been very successful, I think, that both companies have been stabilized. There has been, Merrill Lynch has been contributing to the profits of Bank of America. The overall financial system has been stabilized, and so I think the outcome was successful. And I don't think that there's anyone who violated any law or broke any ethical code, as far as I can see.
You think the conduct of Secretary Paulson, your conduct, and Mr. Lewis was all above board?
Yes, sir, and all in good intentions.